First is 1984. So funnily enough, in my engineering, at that time when I was perusing my library, there was a professor who was doing her PhD in dystopia and science fiction. So that was the obviously we had a communications department. So in literature PhD, and I helped her in her thesis. So one of the books she had chosen was in fact 1984. The other two were Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, and then Dune, Frank Herbert's Dune.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
recent film
Yeah.
also. Yeah.
So 1984, I think I have done a huge amount of analysis, like literary analysis on it. So I was really happy to find somebody who really got inspired. So maybe it's difficult to get inspired by that book, but yeah,
What are some
because
of the things
uh,
that you feel are like you analyzed about this particular book? If
a
you want.
lot of things. So, for example, the book was written in 1948. It's titled
Mm.
1984, and
Oh,
in that book, George Orwell predicted, for example, the rise of televisions. So there is something in that book installed in each of the homes, and so it's a mixture of television and CCTV. So
Mm.
the propaganda is shared, or propaganda is shared by the government through that screen, and then
Yeah.
that's
that screen is like the essence of how the government controls everybody, but they also see you through it. So the big brother is watching you is a very famous quote from
Mm.
that gave birth to all this genre, right? Big Boss, Big
Yeah.
Brother, all that. So
right.
how surveillance changes you is one of the themes explored in 1984. There is a very famous scene there is setting that the protagonist is tortured so much that he begins speaking 2 plus 2 equal to 5. So they are trying to teach him basically trying to condition him according to their own way. So they are conditioning him that deeply that he starts saying 2 plus 2 equal to 5. So it's a generally a good book. I think in the modern times it's very important to read it. I think.
Absolutely. I think, Part
Yeah.
you kind of sparked a lot of things there. I feel like that book,
Yeah.
and incidentally, I'm actually reading the new Brave New World right now because I'm just like, and I read
Oh,
Dune like a month
yeah.
back, so I think I'm
Right.
covering her thesis at this point in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there is this, the entire aspect of double speak in the book,
Yes.
which is so
Correct.
disturbing and something that's currently happening. Like, it's not like we don't live in a world where this isn't really happening. So because you said it, I
Yeah.
just like ran to my book rack and I was like, oh, I'll quote because then I'll look like an idiot because memory se to hota nahi mera quote. So, so, but the whole thing about war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance
Yes.
is
Yes.
strength.
Yes. Ignorance is strength. Correct. Correct.
This
Yeah.
this
How do you
these
remember
there was
all that?
some. That's exactly. Yeah, I mean, effortless. My memory is so amazing. I definitely did not reach my book rack and open the, like the pages. This is just me, guys.
Yeah.
I'm a genius.
So there is a quote in 1984. It was a let me remember it. It goes one of my favorite quotes from it. It was a bright cold day in April, something like that, and the clock was striking 13. So I think that was one of the
Yeah.
most
Paradoxes in
striking
that
quotes
line.
from
That
1980.
yeah. The set of paradoxes in that line gives out a view of
Yes,
what is
yes, yes,
political.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Tell me this, like question to both of you largely is that like there are things that have become true in the current setting from this
Yes.
book. But what are those things that you feel are like absolutely not true and haven't happened and not going to happen also? Is there any such thing there?
Hmm. Which have not happened, you are saying.
Not
Okay.
happened, like not they're not coming as it is told in the book at all. I'm
Okay.
sure it's
Okay.
there would be certain parts of it.
Yeah, so one thing which happens in 1984 is the dictatorial government encourages children to complain about their own parents. So what they are doing is they are making an army sort of a thing, but
Hmm.
army of brainwashed children, and they are trying to police something called thought crime. So thought crime is also a neologism from
Hmm.
1984. So that I think is kind of difficult to do because like the amount of brainwashing you require for children to complain against their own parents when they are doing even small things which the government doesn't allow is like a difficult thing. I think it's going to be difficult unless you have a system of centralized child rearing, like kibbutz in Israel or like Plato's Republic, right? Then
Plato's
it can be
Republic,
done.
yeah. Yeah.
Then it
No,
can be done.
and Parth, if I may, just like because it just came to my mind, but I think North Korea is a shining example of what 1984 can look like. I think you just like
Yeah.
read that. I think Kim Jong Un read Bible and 1984 and was just like cut, copy, paste
True,
Yeah.
true.
entire
Yes. Yeah.
political reign. But I think, but
Correct.
yeah, definitely, I think that is something that is a disturbing extreme. But I feel like it is sort of in the works as well in certain countries, but certainly like not in India or other democratic countries, which again might be something to see in the future. But yeah, I think that's a good point. But yes, I'm so sorry, I just interrupted your chain of thought there. Yeah, I'll just
No, that's all. That's all. That's all.
So
That was
one other angle that we also need to look into when it comes to surveillance is now the surveillance is not just limited to state actors. Like it is now non-state
oh,
actors
yeah,
like
yeah.
big
Mm.
corporations, social media companies, big tech
Oh,
firms. It's there everywhere, right? I mean,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, very
for
true.
instance, from Facebook, from
If
Google,
you
and so
if
on.
you open
Yeah.
your like personal WhatsApp, it specifically says there that we're not trying to track your personal chats. Why do they have to do that now as compared to before?
Correct, correct. Yeah.
we're definitely not doing it, guys, but we're definitely maybe also.
This is called double speak, by the way, in 1984.
Nice. Yeah,
What you
exactly. That's
did.
what I, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
What is double speak? Can you double
So
click?
George Orwell is famed for creating a lot of new words, which have now
Hmm.
become a part of English language. Thought crime,
Okay.
double speak, even groupthink. I think groupthink
Okay.
Yeah.
also has its origin, not origin, but use in George
Use
Orwell.
it.
Origin, I think, is
Hmm.
different.
Hmm.
So
Correct.
double speak is like what Simrat was saying, right? Freedom is slavery and knowledge is ignorance, something like
Double
that.
speak. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And also another concept that is derived from double speak, which in psychology has been implicated in a lot of psychological disorders, especially in the family systems. From the family systems perspective, it's called double bind communication, which
Hmm.
basically means hello.
Yeah, yeah, please,
yeah.
please.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So double bind in a when I came across it, I found it really fascinating because it's like one person who says, so you'll say, hug me. Why don't you hug me? But then when somebody comes for a hug, you actually reject that hug. So you really confuse the other person, and that person is not able to actually rely on you for direct communication. So that's also like a outcrop of double speak. I just came to my mind, so I thought I'd share.